All right, next up in this ACC preview is the California Golden Bears. California's first year as a member of the ACC was kind of a mirror image of their last year in the Pac-12. They had a 6-7 record, just like 2023, and a bowl loss in both years, too. The Golden Bears have now had 5 straight losing seasons under head coach Justin Wilcox. His defense really wasn't to blame last year. They were 35th in EPA per play on that side of the ball. It was the offense that did not pull their weight last year, though. They only averaged 25.1 points per game, which was 90th in college football. Even more concerns on that side of the ball, too, because they lost so much talent to the transfer portal, but the defense should, again, be a little strong up front.
No, absolutely. And look, last year I would say the strength of this team was the secondary. This year it's going to be the front seven and the guys returning, especially in their run defense. They got Harrison Taggart at linebacker from BYU in the portal. They got TJ Bush in the portal, right? They've got several players. I think this year for Justin Wilcox, the focus is going to be on the front seven, while they're going to have a little bit of a younger secondary, right? You lose guys like Craig Woodson and Noel Williams. Maybe they won't force as many turnovers on the back end because they were among the national leaders in interceptions last year. So you're talking about a team, I think it's still going to be a good defense, and obviously Wilcox is a defensive coach who's going to make that his focus, but it's going to shift a little more to the front seven and be a more physical up front and winning in the trenches.
Definitely. Now, the question mark is, where is the offense going to come from? Because I mentioned it last year, Cal's offense, 95th in the country in PFF grade and EPA per play, and they had stars, Dalton, on that offense, like their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. A lot of people think could be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He's at Indiana right now. Jaden Knott, in my opinion, a top 15 running back in college football. He's at Oklahoma right now. In my opinion, the best running back in the SEC. And then Jack Endries, who's a top 3 at least tight end in college football. He's at Texas now too. So you had 3 really good players on that offense last year. The offensive line really struggled last year. We had a great quarterback, a great running back, and a great tight end. I know Jaden Knott battled injuries last year, but your offense is still pretty bad with those 3 guys. Now all 3 of them are gone, and there's a lot of question marks right now. They have a new quarterback, though, Dalton, in Devin Brown, coming in from Ohio State. He was the backup at Ohio State, but he was a former 5-star recruit coming out of high school, sat on the bench for 3 years. What should we know about him as he finally gets his chance to start now?
I think, to me, the first thing we're going to need to hope for Brown, surrounding that, you mentioned all the skill guys that left, but the biggest problem and the reason they weren't efficient on offense last year was that their offensive line was not good at all. I mean, that's really been a problem for the last couple of years, but especially last year. So Brown, what you want to see is him be protected. Look, he's got a good enough arm to make all the throws, and the little bit that we've seen from him, he's only got 60 career dropbacks at Ohio State, is that he wants to throw it outside the numbers. I think he's good at identifying pre-snap, those one-on-one matchups, especially those go balls down the sideline, in a bit of the same fashion sometimes with Mendoza. Mendoza was more of an RPO throwing in the intermediate range quarterback, but Brown, I think, is going to work even more to the outside, out toward the numbers. So do I think he can have success? Absolutely. The problem is that when he's under pressure, it really gets away from him. The fundamentals get away from him. And a lot of that is just a lack of experience. But, 27.4 passing grade under pressure with 7 sacks taken, okay, in just 14 pressure dropbacks. It's just, that's going to be the key, is can they keep him protected enough? Because he's a decent athlete. I'm not going to tell you he's not going to, set the world on fire running the ball, but he wants to throw it outside the numbers. He wants to be calm and clean in the pocket. I think the offensive line is really going to be the biggest factor in his success, because he wants to throw the ball downfield vertically. He's just got to have time to do it.
I mentioned before, they lost starting quarterback, star running back, star tight end. They also lost their top receiver, and Isaiah Hunter also transferred to Nebraska too. So missing their top receiver from last year. They did bring in a transfer, though, and Jacob DeJesus coming in from UNLV. He was 5th among all Mountain West wide receivers last year with a 78.1 receiving grade. He had a 122.3 passer rating when targeted, was 3rd among all Mountain West wide receivers. He's only dropped 1 of his 101 career catchable targets. He has excellent hands, really. He's 5'7", he's 170 pounds, so he is undersized, but he has got blazing speed that allows him to separate at a very, very high level. Like I said, very strong hands too. Jacob DeJesus right now projects as the top weapon for Devin Brown in that offense next year.
Terrific player when he was at UNLV. Absolutely, like you mentioned, undersized but blazing fast and knows how to separate. It's exactly the type of slot receiver you want in these open college offenses nowadays.
And on that defense, they also brought in a pretty solid transfer coming in from BYU.
Absolutely. Harrison Taggart, a very well-rounded linebacker, eighth best PFF grade in the Big 12 last year, 70-plus grades in coverage and as a run defender. Is a guy you can just rely on as your middle linebacker, is a fundamentally sound player in all aspects. I think if you're looking for a guy to replace your previous middle linebacker in Teddy Buchanan, you did pretty darn well with it in Harrison Taggart. I was surprised to see him transfer from BYU, and Cal must have put in a pretty good offer for him. But I'll tell you what, for him to be the center of your front seven in that linebacker room, I really like what they're getting in Taggart, the transfer from BYU.
So, Dalton, it's been a rough stretch for California. They've had 5 straight losing seasons now. Their win total is set at 5.5. Will they make a bowl game, or will they miss a bowl game?
It's going to be just like Boston College. It's going to be tight. And it was tight for Cal last year, right? There's some 50-50 games here. They've also got 3 of these East Coast trips out to the Eastern time zone. Boston College and Virginia Tech and Louisville. These have not been trips that have been great to West Coast teams, at least in the first year of this experiment last year. This is going to be very, very close. I think there's going to be a lot of 50-50 games. Also an out-of-conference game against Minnesota coming to them.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think I'm going to take the under, but again, it's like Boston College the same way. You're one 50-50 game, one big road win away from putting that over. It's going to be very close. Again, I think 5.5 is the right number for this team as well. The quarterback and the offensive line situation worry me. If Devin Brown is not protected, because Mendoza is very decisive, and he gets rid of the ball through contact. I think that's one of his best traits. It's the decisiveness and the toughness that he plays with. Devin Brown's just so inexperienced that I just don't know that he has that yet, right? And he's only got 60 career dropbacks, so I'm going to go under for the Golden Bears here.
I'm also going under. There's so many new faces on offense. I still have question marks on the offensive line. You lost your star tight end. You lost your star running back. You lost your star quarterback. I am excited to watch Devin Brown because Devin Brown, like I said, was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school a few years ago, so finally gets a chance to start next year. But you never know. You never know, right? And it's exciting to watch him next year, but I don't know if they're enough to be a bowl game on offense. They should have a good enough defense to keep them in games next year, maybe a 5-7 football team. But just the amount of losses they had offensively from what was already a bad offense last year, I don't think it'll be enough to make a bowl game in 2025. So I'm going under for California too. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.